both sides of the conversation, family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm both sides of the conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both sides of the conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything to anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or this will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome, everybody, to both sides of the conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going to have another Sunday conversation. This is always very important here when we have these conversations that impact our community. And you all know every Sunday we are trying to tackle the taboo conversations, the stigma conversation, the conversations that sometimes the Black and brown community just don't have. So today we got a phenomenal panel of guests. We're going to be talking about Black suicide in our community. It's going to be a great conversation. We got some folks who are going to tell some amazing stories, and we're just looking forward to that. For all of our new followers, people that just tuning on, checking in every Sunday, we have our Sunday conversation at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. here live on our YouTube, streaming on our Facebook. You can follow us on any one of our social media handles. Check out our live webinar and see what's going on. We're excited to have our community here. This is what it's all about. I know the Niners is losing, so I know my people are going through it. They stressed right now. All right. So the Bay Area football fans are feeling it right now. And again, I know this time of the season, there's always stress and anxiety. So today's conversation is definitely going to be relevant and a real conversation for us to have. But before we get started, as y'all see, I have no co-host today. Pretty Tony is still recovering, and hopefully she will be back soon. Continue to send your prayers to her, and shout out to Tony because I know she's watching and supporting. But again, continue to send prayers for her speedy recovery. She'll be back soon. Okay, I've talked to her. She's doing good. She's going to get back, and we're going to be lighting up the airwaves again when she comes back. Nothing but great times, but happy to know that everything is well and she'll be back. With that being said, our community was lit this weekend. There was community events happening all over the Bay Area this weekend. Things were happening. I've been running around all over the place doing our programming and just messing and mixing with a lot of these events. So just want to give a huge shout out to everybody that showed up to the block party yesterday for the grand opening of the Southeast Health Center. The Indian Basin Park was lit. People was everywhere, young folks. It was a great, great event. There was a number of events going on across the city that everybody was just out. The weather's been okay, and people have been getting out, enjoying the city, enjoying the sun, and just enjoying the community events that community continues to bring to our people. Also want to give a huge shout out to my guy, Nate Ford, SF Rebels. The Junior NBA League is just happening. The young folks are just having a great time. The families are out supporting our young kids as they're learning how to play basketball in this new league. And they're just having a great time. So shout out to Nate, to all the SF Rebel players, and to the young folks that are doing amazing, amazing stuff in the sport arena. Also, shout out to the Brown Bombers and all the collective work that they continue to do with the Pee Wee Football League as they just continue to represent for the city. So shout out to the Bombers. Shout out to all of the folks and families that are a part of that as well. Well, with that being said, I forgot. I didn't even say today. Today, shout out to Third Baptist Church and for their youth teen summit. Today we were out there. What a great event they put on for all of the young folks in the community. They had stations set up to play PlayStation. They had games and books and food and conversation, DJs and music. They're continuing their commitment to make sure that our young people in the community have a way to come together. So they went to church early and worship, and then they stepped into their youth event, and it was phenomenal. We were out there supporting the event, so we excited. Shout out to all of the youth ministries and to all of the folks at Third Baptist Church that continue to impact the young people in community. So great event, and I was rushing trying to get back to the studio to get live. So I'm sorry if I'm a little rushed or I'm a little winded because I've been moving around, and that's how it goes sometimes when you have to be 6 places at one time. But with that being said, we're going to jump into our news, some of our community announcements. We'll get into today's conversation. The owner of the Gold's Gym plans plane disappeared, said to be carrying his partner and his children. The billionaire co-owner of Gold's Gym brand, Rain and Shelter, is among 5 people who were unaccounted for after a private plane disappeared traveling from Mexico and Costa Rica. The lifeguards or the Coast Guards and a number of folks have been going. They have found several pieces of plane wreckage. They have 2 bodies that have not yet been identified. Terrible news to hear that, but those type of things do happen. A very, very sad day. Our condolences out to those family, and hopefully they find all the folks that was aboard that plane. Also, Netflix, okay, y'all, Netflix is going to be charging extra for the password sharing starting in 2023. I guess they caught on. They too late. We've been getting over, right? But starting in early 2023, Netflix is going to begin charging folks who share their passwords at different, I guess the way they go monitor is due to different Wi-Fi connections. I guess that's the only way you could do it. But they are going to be charging extra fees and requiring users to pay additional fees for friends and family members to access Netflix. I knew it was coming. It just couldn't be true to go that long. I guess we got to find new ways to share our stuff. You know, black folks, we're going to hook up the cable. We're going to do something to make sure we got a discount. But we'll figure it out. We'll find a loophole. Somebody in the black IT world, give us the game. Give us the backcode. Give us the blockchain so we can get access and get to it. So, again, look at the higher increased cost community. They're going to be charging more after the New Year's as they're trying to find ways to continue to keep the Netflix platform going. So if you give your password to somebody, be looking for an extra cost coming in the mail. With that being said, the appeals court pauses Joe Biden's debt relief program. They are temporarily pausing the debt cancellation rollout in response to the Sixth Republic led states that they plan to sue, arguing that the financial harms to the state's revenues and temporary pauses do not prevent the borrower from applying for student debt relief through the government website. So again, every time we think we're taking a step forward, something happens, we take a step back. But that's how it goes. So all y'all people that's been happy, said, I'm getting my student debt written off. I don't know if we all the way there yet, but some states are honoring it. But go to the government website at the studentaid.gov. They're live right now. Put your information there and see if you qualify or if you could get that benefit relief. Also, we're going to jump into our community events as we're going to tell people what's going on, because this week is the week of Halloween and our young folks love to go get candy and they love to be out in the community. So we'll start with our events today and get through those as well. So the first Halloween event is this Thursday, October the 27th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at 701 Alabama Street in San Francisco. If you're looking for candy, or if you're looking for a good time, a safe place to go hang out and convene with community, that's where you want to be. Also, we have the Wizardly Nights Halloween event. It's going to be happening Friday, October 28th, 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. at 762 Folsom Street at the African American Arts and Culture Complex. And yes, we will be there. Both sides of the conversation. You'll see our tent. You'll see us tabling. You'll see us out there with our 360 booth. We're going to be having a good time celebrating with community. So you will see us out there supporting this event. Also, the one-day youth baseball camp is free to all ages 9 through 14, Saturday, October 29th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Junior Pacero Playground at 300 Stonecrest Drive, San Francisco. For more information, call the number on the bottom of the screen. If you have a young person who want to play baseball, want to get involved in sports, this is an opportunity. It's free. Parents, take your kids up there and give them access so that they can be a part of this. Also, the Bayview Hunters Point Jubilee and Resource Fair is taking place Saturday, October the 29th. It's going to be at 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Martin Luther King Park across the street from the new Southeast Health Center, 2401 Keith Street in San Francisco. For more information, reach out to Javier Wilson at Rafiki Coalition or call that number that you see on the screen below. Also, the Parenting and Poverty Justice Rally is happening this weekend. Okay, I need some dads, I need some fathers, I need some people from the community to get up there. I got to go out of town and I can't be there. Okay, this rally is very important. As you all know, Senate Bill 1050 just passed. Now folks in California will be able to remove their driver's license from child support. They are continuing to fight to help Black men out in this country. Okay, we're trying to change these child support laws. Our organization, a number of other organizations are working together to try to redo the laws that have been impacting our community with child support. So now the bill has been signed. The governor signed the first part of the bill. So brothers will be getting their license back as they try to find other ways to leverage. But we know we need our license to do most all things that we have to do. So it's very important. Community, get out there, let your voices be heard. And fathers, especially, get out there and let them know the impact that you have been dealing with so that we can make sure that we fix this legislative process and make sure that these policies get in place and not continue to harm our communities. Also, the Harvest Fest free event is happening Monday, October 31st at 204 Bedley Road in Bay Point. For more information, call the number that you see there on the screen, and they'll be giving you all the updated information that you need for that event. Also, the high school test prep class is open to all 7th and 8th. I don't know what happened. My screen just went blank. Okay. Wi-Fi issues. I don't know. Somebody's attacking me. Maybe I said something wrong about the child support. I don't know. But I just lost. I froze up. I don't know what's happening. All right. Let me get back to the events. I don't know what's going on. My computer is going down on me and everything's having problems. All right. So we're going to go for, we was last at the high school test prep that I was talking about. If you want to get your kids prepared for the high school test prep, please have them go to SF Rebels 1990 at Gmail. Make sure that our young folks get an opportunity to be a part of this, as we want to make sure that our young people are excelling academically. And this is a great opportunity for them as well. Also, the monkeypox vaccination is available every Thursday, 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at 701 Alabama Street. If that is you out there, you need to get vaccinated. Please go up there and get the vaccination. Also, the Peace Park is presenting their Friday Night Fun every Friday night from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Hamilton Rec Center, 1600 Gary Boulevard. If you are looking for a place for young folks to go in space and make sure that they are around other positive teens and they're getting some mentorship and some things, please send them to the Peace Park events. It is happening, and it's a great time for the young folks. Also, the second Saturday Family Fun Day is still happening with field trips, sporting events, and much more every second and fourth Saturday. Please reach out to SF Rebels. They are taking our young people all across the country in different places and doing events with our young people, keeping them engaged. Also, the Smart Money coaching, free confidential guidance is available to all folks receiving and working in San Francisco. If you would like to schedule an appointment, please call the 1-800 number that you see on the screen. Again, y'all know we promote financial literacy. We want our community to excel financially. We want to leave generational wealth. Pick up the phone, call somebody if you're struggling so that we can make sure that you get the support that you need. Also, celebrating the Black culture. You can apply for a $7,500 in funding of Black culture preservation events in the Tenderloin, Lakeview, Sunnydale, Visitation Valley, OMI. For more information, please go to interaction.org. They have many grants, okay, community? If you want to do an event, you feel Black folks will benefit from it, you want to do it, please go to them, check it out. You can get up to $7,500 to host your event for community. Very powerful stuff. Also, with that being said, our both sides of the conversation are building fundraiser. We're trying to build capacity. Y'all know we got a lot of things we're trying to do. We're trying to get in space so that we got good Wi-Fi, so we don't be getting kicked off the screen like that. So we're trying to build capacity. It takes dollars to run these platforms. It takes dollars to do the things that we do. So you be a part of the change. Since you can't give up your time to help give back, do your part. Make a donation. Support both sides of the conversation. We got a number of fundraising opportunities that are out there, and we would love to have you all come and support. Also, we are still in search of volunteers. We are looking for people who have skill sets that know how to do certain things that can help bring that talent to what we're doing to help impact our community. If that is you, please go to our website and sign up as one of our squad members or one of our volunteer folks, and we'll have somebody reach out to you because we need all the help we can to continue to impact our community. Well, if that is not you and you like, John, I don't have time, I'm too busy, I can't do it. Well, maybe you can support us this way, especially the ladies out there, okay? You could go to Amazon Smile. You can sign up and choose both sides of the conversation as one of your charitable organizations. No extra charge to you, okay? No extra charge to you, but 0.5% of your sales, they will give back to us in donation to help support our organization. So if you want to do that, just go ahead and support us that way. And ladies, I know you shopping out there, okay? Every time I drive down the street, I see Amazon trucks dropping off packages everywhere, okay? So I know y'all spending money on Amazon. Go ahead and choose both sides of the conversation as one of your charitable organizations so that we can get some funding and get some support while you spending money and shopping. But if you don't support, I'm telling your husband, I'm going to say, hey, she snuck outside and got those packages and put them back in the house. But y'all can do y'all part. Go ahead and support us here at both sides of the conversation. If you haven't been following us and you new, check us out on all of our social media handles, okay? At both sides of the conversation. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Check us out. You want to see what we're doing? You want to see how we impact the community? Go check us up, sign up, and I guarantee you, you won't be dissatisfied about the work and the things that we're doing to impact community. Also, our next live show is this Tuesday. Y'all know every Tuesday we have a segment called Hidden Gems, where we highlight Black and brown businesses, community leaders, community organizations that are doing positive things to impact our community. If that is you, if you know somebody who has a business or you know somebody that's doing some great work in our community, please nominate them on our website so that we can get them on and we can have them talk about some of the things that they're doing so our community know where those businesses are and how to connect with them so we can keep our Black dollars circulating in our community. Also, this Thursday, we're going to have another educational Thursday. We're going to be talking about finance. We got some financial coaches coming on to help educate our community. And, we are excited and ready for that as well. Well, with that being said, I know y'all like, John, shut up. We heard enough of you. That's it. That's all of our events. We're going to go ahead and jump into today's conversation. With that being said, I just want to read a brief statistic for the community before we bring up today's panelists. Because I think this is very important for our community to hear and understand. But here's some statistics and information that we were able to locate of what's going on. Since 2014, 80% of suicide deaths in the Black community were men. Recent research have observed Caribbean Black men in the U.S. have a higher attempted rate for the African-American community. Firearms was the predominant method of suicide among African-American, regardless of sex, age. Suicide suffocation was the second most prevalent method. Black men don't often recognize depression or trauma as an issue, therefore don't associate suicidal ideologies as a problem. The facts about Black boys and suicide. Self-reported suicide attempts for Black adolescents rose to about 73% since 2017. Black boys are increasingly likely to attempt suicide than Black girls, who have more who also have a lot of suicidal attempts. Black boys are engaging in more lethal means when attempting suicide than Black girls, which has increased 122% between 2017 and now. Black boys are twice as likely to die by suicide than white youth. Wow. Very, very touching, disheartening information. But again, this is real, okay? And we're not even talking about the school bullying. We're not talking about the drugs. How many young folks use drugs to commit suicide? It's a lot of numbers in there that's not in there. But the whole thing is we're trying to wake this up. We got to protect our community. Changing the narrative is letting folks know we can't allow this to keep happening in our community. So we have to do our part to make sure our eyes and our feet and boots are on the ground and making sure that we are checking in on our loved ones and our people. This conversation is heavy. It is a tough topic, okay? It's going to be triggering. But again, I think this is the conversation that we need to have, and we need to continue to push these conversations forward. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring up today's panelists. We'll bring them up one at a time and give them a few minutes to introduce themselves to the community, and then we'll get started with today's conversation. So I'm going to start off today with Brother Frank Green. Frank, welcome to both sides of the conversation. Come on and holler at the people. Tell them who you are. Give them a little background, and we'll move on to the next person.
Okay. Hey, my name is Frank Green. Thanks for having me on today. I'm a military veteran. I served 2 tours in the United States Navy as a hospital corpsman. During my time in, I've seen a lot of, I guess, situations dealing with mental health, suicide. And because of that, this is a really important topic because a lot of the people that I witnessed has been close people, friends, So like I said, I'm really excited to be here today and to take part in this conversation. Thanks for having me again.
Man, thank you, Frank, for being here, and thank you for your service. One thing at both sides of the conversation, we always salute our military folks. So thank you for your service, and we appreciate you being here today. Why not? It's your time, my good brother Lawyer. What's going on? Welcome to the screen. Holla at the people out here.
Oh yes, sir, man. Listen, I'm the CEO of Why Now Is Your Time, man. We one thing I learned over this whole process in the last 10, 15 years is the youth need to understand 3 principles. And I want to focus on 3 principles. And I think these 3 principles are going to help a lot of people, which is we teach people how to design their life, create their brand, and leave their legacy. Because I think that when it comes to having mental health, when you can understand these 3 things, then you will know why now is your time. So I'm glad to be here, man. I look forward to whatever you need me to say or tell my story.
All right, no problem, good brother. We are happy that you are here. Brother Kevin, I know he just touched down. He's in the car. Let's see if we can get Kevin. Kevin, are you there, good brother? We might have lost Kevin. Is he there?
Can you hear me?
He made it. Yeah, we can hear you, good brother.
Sorry about that. Grateful for the opportunity to be here. I'm Kevin Berthia, suicide prevention advocate and nationally known speaker. I got into the mental health field 2013. Before that, didn't even know the mental health world didn't even exist. Born and raised Oakland, California, something that we don't talk about at all. Didn't even realize the numbers, how astronomical, how much our people suffer. I spent the last 6 years traveling around this country, just telling my story and just trying to raise as much awareness around mental health as I can. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much. And then we're going to bring up our own Lynette Mackey, as she is an advocate for mental health. She has a tremendous story. But Lynette, welcome to the community. We know you here. You always facilitate and working with our youth team. But go ahead and say hello to the people.
Hi, everybody. Lynette Mackey, I said, and I'm just here to tell my story and to listen and learn, honestly, to get back to my community.
Man, definitely very, very important stuff. So with that being said, we got a number of questions that community will be asking. I see comments already starting to ride in. But with that being said, we want to start off with Kevin because I think we're going to kick off with you and just tell your story, because I think your story is very powerful, very touching. And we'll kick it off with you, and then we'll just start moving around and let everybody go, and we just keep popcorning it. And I know as we get through it, it'll get deeper. But go ahead, Kevin, if you want to go ahead and kick us off.
Sure. I appreciate it. Like I said, grateful for the opportunity. We all have a story, millions of stories out there. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to share mine. My story is pretty much like almost everybody else's. Is, because we have this big stigma in the African American community, a lot of our stories are similar because we didn't talk about mental health. We didn't have this upbringing of understanding exactly what we're up against. We didn't take the time to really process emotions and really learn how to deal with the process emotions. So I've literally been battling as early as age 5 years old. I knew I had an issue. I knew I had a problem. I knew something was wrong with me. I knew something was going on in my brain that was different from other individuals, but I never wanted to deal with it. I never wanted to talk about it. It was just easier acting like it didn't exist. I learned early in life that people take you for face value. If you are happy, nobody's going to look at you and think that you secretly are sad. And if you're sad, nobody's going to secretly think that you're happy. So my job was to always make it look like I had it together. My job was to always make it look like nothing was bothering me, and I mastered that. So that's why I know so many individuals out there are fronting, and they putting on this front and acting like everything is okay, and it's really not. I struggle with suicide ideation, just pretty much everything growing up. And I got to a point where I lied about everything about who I was for so many years that it caught up to me. At 22 years old, I ended up driving myself to the Golden Gate Bridge and literally jumped off of it. So the only thing that was able to keep me here today in order to speak for you is I had a first responder who interceded on my behalf and took the time to really listen to me. 92-minute conversation on why, I pretty much poured my heart out, and I still didn't took the time to really just deal with it. It took me years to accept that I had a mental health condition, that I need medication, that I need therapy, because all these things, we live in African American community, we don't deal with having an issue or identifying that we really have issues. So it took me literally almost 30 something years and 22 suicide attempts to really, really get in my brain that, okay, Kevin, this is a real issue. I was so afraid of how the world would view me. People don't realize, I think that we all can speak for this. Being a Black man is probably the hardest thing to do in the world. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Black man. I'm saying that because it's true. We have to deal with so much anxiety just being who we are. And then you throw in a mental health condition with that. It's a wonder why our men haven't lost their minds more, because we were up against so much, and we have to be, we have to keep everything in check and keep everything together. So I just got the opportunity now to travel around the country and just tell my story and just try to help as many people that look like me out and make people understand that it doesn't matter how dark a place you go to, you are the light is inside of you, and it's your job just to shine. And so I make people understand that they have a light. We all have a light. We're never going to stop shining. And no matter what we have to do, no matter what I have to do, I'm going to continue to do this work. So thank you for the opportunity. And I appreciate the opportunity to share.
Man, powerful story. I think that is the highlight of what was really going on. And you're right, Black men and a lot of Black women as well suffer in silence. And it's very powerful to have you all here and just to have you speak that, because again, I think, to really make change in our community, we have to be vulnerable. Okay. We have to be able to talk about this. Right. And the only way we break that narrative, change that narrative, is we have to start being upfront and honest. We need all of our influencers, our movie folks, our music industry folks, these real reality TV folks, our social media influencers. We got to really address the mental health and really have these conversations. So I'm excited to have you here. This conversation is going to be great. And we just go keep pushing it along. But again, I know folks are going to start chiming in because there's somebody out there who is listening. Okay, there's a young man or a young woman out there that is listening, that is suffering from depression and are just going through it right now. And to hear you all powerfully speak is going to open up those doors for them to have a conversation. And I think, you just speaking about getting the medication, getting the help is real, because a lot of folks, they don't want to do it. But it's needed. And we have to start addressing it. We have to start doing it, but we don't need any more lives lost, especially in the times that we're in. Okay, stress, not only just amongst Black folks. Okay, when you see the interest rates, the inflation, what's going on, the number of employers who are laying off thousands and thousands of employees, the amount of anxiety and worry in our communities is heavy. And the pandemic rolled us out a lot as well. So again, this is a great conversation. Excited to be here today. But again, we're going to open the door. We're going to touch the heart of somebody today. Because somebody's going through it out there. It is tough times in community. We have to love on each other and look out for each other. So again, great stuff. Kevin, if you want to jump in there, or Frank or Lloyd, go ahead and jump in, and then Lynette, you could jump in there as well.
All right, cool. I'll jump in. Yeah, another important part of I guess working around the mental health issues in our community is learning to identify signs. Like when most people hear the term mental health or even suicide, they think of, okay, someone jumping off a bridge or putting a gun in their mouth, and that's the route. But sometimes suicide, the signs of someone going that route could be as simple as a change in behavior. You can have somebody that's the most cautious person in the world. They have the cleanest lifestyle, and then all of a sudden you see them dabbling and doing things that are completely out of the norm for who they are, and that could be their path. So I feel like, as a community, the stigmas are one thing. It basically makes it hard for people to express it, but another part of combating it is also learning the signs so that we'll know when to be concerned for each other, when to chime in, when to pull people back, and start loving on each other. And like I said, I've seen so many cases, especially coming out of the military, with close friends. I went on a deployment in 2011. It wasn't, it was a pretty bad situation. Coming back, a lot of people weren't the same, and you start seeing different behaviors displayed. Like, I had one friend that he went in, he was big, and he was really serious in the church. He didn't drink. He had there's a lot of things he didn't do. For me at the time, I wasn't aware of exactly what signs to look for, and because of that, that brother slipped through the cracks. That was somebody that we lost because we didn't know what to look for. But like I said, that's the signs is really important.
Wow, very important stuff. And I wanted to ask you as well, when we talk about the military, because I think there's a misnotion that folks get there's all this support. I was actually talking to a retiree military person yesterday, and was just talking about how terrible a lot of things go on in the military when it comes to women and when it comes to African American and Latin males. There's some issues that don't get a rise. There's a lot of not only suicide, but there's been homicides within the military branches when it comes to women, rape, things of that nature. And it plays a big role in mental health and what's going on. How do you feel about that? Is that on point, or you think is it overreach? Because I've talked to several people, and I've got the same sentiment that there's a lot of issues in our military branches, but maybe you could speak to it, and if you don't, that's fine. But I've heard those rates of suicide and some of those extreme events that take place have happened in the military due to some of the behaviors and some of the things that are practiced in our military branches.
Yeah, definitely. It's I want to say, like, the military is a closed community, but I guess I'll share like a comment that was made before I went on deployment. Someone, I think when we're heading out, like I think as soon as we're like out at sea for 5 days, one of the chiefs made a comment and said, people can only hide who they are for 45 days. After 45 days, you're out at sea. You can't, it's like the true you starts coming out. So if, just like in the civilian world, if you have people that are racist, they're racist. If you have people that generally don't care for a specific group of people, that comes out. So in the military, yeah, there are a lot of resources that you can reach out to, but ultimately it depends on who you reach out to. That determines how much help you'll receive. Luckily, in some cases, you'll find the right person. Sometimes you don't.
Wow, man, a lot of work to do. Brother Lloyd, go ahead and jump in there, King.
Man, I just think some things we need to really be focused on is allowing men to have safe spaces. Safe spaces where they can go somewhere and be able to talk to different, men about different situations. Me growing up without a father was one of the most devastating things. My father stayed 5 minutes away, and I knew he did, but he didn't have no communication with me. So that created a lot of mental health with me trying to reflect on who am I? What have I done that this man do not want to be connected to me? So I just think that as we as we create more safe places for us, it's easier for men to be able to have a place to go talk to other men. Because if you don't have that safe place, then it's like, who are you talking to? You know, I mean, it's a lot of times once you talk to somebody, it relieves, you know, that thing that you just, instead of talking to yourself, you're talking to somebody else and they're responding to you. So I think that as men, that we need to create more small community of safe spaces so that men can go to and to be very vulnerable. You know, I've been to different men's group. Some of the men group is like, they're not that vulnerable. It's like they come to a point where some of them are too churchy, and then they come to another, some of them are like, you know, well, we really can't talk about this here. I mean, but these men are crying for help. And if we don't have a place that they can go to speak to someone that looks like them, then there's no way that we can get them to the next level.
Wow, I agree 100% with you. So all the ladies out there watching, I say it all the time, okay? When brothers become vulnerable and open up and tell you how they feel, express themselves, don't use that information when you're upset to weaponize a brother, okay? Because all you're going to do is shut that brother down. I go into so many spaces and I keep advocating for black men to have a voice. Sisters, y'all got to be patient, okay? It ain't about a male dominant space, okay? But sometimes when a brother is trying to speak and get his point across, be open and listen. I go in these meetings and it's like all of this stuff they advocating for women. I'm like, yes, our queens need that. But who's advocating for the brothers? Okay, who's creating programs for male support groups? You got all these support groups for women, all this mental health for women. And again, it's not a women bashing thing. I think our women need just as much. But again, like you said, how do we create space that brothers could go in, speak their truth, and give them experience? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I go in a lot of these meetings, these women trying to tell man how man is. And I'm sitting there saying, are you going to ask the man in the room? You going to sit here and tell me how it is for a man? You know what I'm going through? You don't know what I'm going through. And then they get mad at me. John Henry, you're chauvinistic. You're male chauvinistic. You this, you that. No, I'm not. Don't be speaking for men. You don't know what we go through. All right. But again, we got to create those safe spaces. And again, ladies, when brothers are in these spaces, because these women are talking all of the time, let the brothers speak sometimes. You know, they get all frustrated. Yeah, I talk too much. We don't even get to talk. So when we get an opportunity to talk, let us speak, okay? Because sometimes we have some great ideas. We have some great information that needs to be heard. Support the kings. That's how we're going to do it in the community. Kings supporting queens, queens supporting kings. And when we in these spaces, and I'm talking about political spaces, I'm talking about spaces that impact our community, let the brother voices be heard. And granted, a lot of sisters, I'm like, I know y'all been holding it down. A lot of brothers been suffering in silence. A lot of brothers been locked up. But brothers is out here stepping up, trying to do the work. We're trying to do the mental health work. We're trying to get back involved. We're trying to do the things that let us step up to the plate and do what we do. So we got a lot of work there. I'm glad you brought that up. We do need these safe spaces. I continue to say it. And we got to get encouraged. You know, we got to keep getting encouraged. And the way we get more brothers to tune in is when we have brothers like you all coming on, speaking your truth. Also, shout out to my guy, Craig Cook Sullivan. He's doing barbershop talk now. He's doing mental health conversations. Everybody trying to do something. I'm like, hey, I'm not in competition. We can have as many podcasts as we need, as long as we can get black males speaking and folks listening, understanding what's going on. It is a real issue in our community, okay? And I'm going to say it again. I know these folks get mad at me. You cannot heal half of the community. We have to invest in the black males in our community as well. We give all this service and resources to our women. It's never going to fix the problem. The problem is we got to work on our black males. We got to put those resources there and give them the same opportunities. When we're talking about equity, we're talking about inclusion, we're talking about this support. What it looks like coming to the table, having those same asking needs for black males in our community. So great stuff. We'll get into that a little bit more. I'm sure my women out there that say I'm a woman bad, they're going to start coming from me. So I'm okay. Y'all can come for me today, but we're going to keep it real, okay? We ain't messing around here. But Lynette, you here, I know you got a powerful story that, you know, have impacted the family and all that stuff. And you always are an advocate for young ladies and males when it comes to mental health. You working on a mental health program that's going to be phenomenal to impact our community. But go ahead and talk to the people and just give them a little bit about what's going on and some of the things that you've been faced with when dealing with mental health in the community.
I want to first say thank you to all you guys, because everything each one of y'all said, I was able to say like, damn, that's true. That's true. If I had this knowledge before, I would have knew better, or, you know, I would have been able to help. So I'm going to say, like, one, I just suffered a loss from my 12-year-old nephew. We were like this. So knowing that the Black youth definitely need it, and at that, the Black men, as you guys already stated, is definitely the ones who need the most. Because I know, being a Black woman right now, suffering a loss of a young man, that's still touching to me, my family, as well as his friends, and being as his friends losing someone their age, and someone not stepping up to say, hey, do any of you youth need someone to talk to, or do anybody else need someone to talk to, because you did just lose someone your age, let me know that I need to step up and be there, because these youth need it. It's not just the Black men, it's these youth. It's starting young. Like Kevin said, he was 5 years old and knew he needed some help. And a big thing for me is, I feel like in my family, our Black men need it. And I've watched generation after generation see that no one got that help. So being on this show, I wanted to ask also some of you that have dealt with mental health, did you take the prescriptions, or did you go that route? Because me personally, I felt like the prescription is what helped him make the choice of taking his life, because he was on medication. After all, you know, he was on medication. He wasn't seeing his therapist though. So was it that he wasn't speaking, or was it that he was taking medication and still holding it in? Like, these are questions that I ask myself every day, because I can't ask him. And losing him would have took me off the edge as well. But during the time being pregnant, I was able to say, and I'm going to fight for my son. I'm going to fight for my son. But every day I tell myself, I'm thankful for this baby here, because I would not be here if he wasn't for him. Because when I say we were this close, I mean we were this close, you know? So losing him really affected me. And now I want to give back to try to figure out how to be an open voice, be an open ear for the youth. So now I'm going to take all the knowledge you guys have so I can help and go forward with helping them.
I'll chime in. Yeah, so after I returned, I was, you know, I had my stint with mental health. It presented first as a sleep disorder, where, you know, I would have issues. I would get stressed out. I wouldn't be able to sleep. And then after being up for like days at a time, it would present in other ways. It would present in anxiety, depression, and then later I was diagnosed bipolar manic depressive. I think, you know, I did do my time with the medication. I tried the medication out as well, but I felt like the side effects from it wasn't something that I was willing to risk. So I kind of went more the educational route. So I think the most, like I said, the most powerful thing is identifying when you're having a problem. So one of the things that my therapist did, she you know, explained to me, you know, I guess the physiological signs and symptoms of you know, depression and anxiety. So with my condition, it was a thing to where, okay, the anxiety presents. So anxiety, I didn't have it, you know, at an early age. It happened, you know, after I got out the service. So she explained to me how anxiety works. So as a person, you know, normally baseline, you know, on any normal day, if you feel stressed or whatever, you might, you know, get this much anxiety. But once you know, you have, you know, a traumatic experience or whatever, you know, you break that threshold. Instead of being here, you're all the way up here. So from that point, if you feel anxious again, you may never, your baseline is no longer here. You can go from 0 to 60 like easily. So that's one thing that I realized. And then from that point, you know, you'll have your anxiety, your anxious moments, and then, you know, your depression is the time when, you know, you're crashing, you feel like you're at your lowest. So between the two, you know, if you don't get help or learn how to, you know, draw back at that point, it's like, that's when the problem presents. So for me, you know, educating and going a holistic route to where, okay, when I feel like, you know, I can't sleep, this is what I need to do to counteract that. It prevents me from, you know, going further. So I think, medication is nothing wrong with that. If you feel like you're not there and you need the medication to stop you from progressing and going, out of control, spiraling, then by all means get the medication. But there's other routes. There's holistic processes too, and there's different exercises that you can do to help control mental health conditions.
Wow, great information there. Great truth. Kevin or anybody want to jump in? Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Well, my biggest thing is the mindset. Mental health mindset is like, what are you feeding your mind on a daily basis? And then who are you connected to? Because who you connected to is the source of your power. So I really try to tell people, like, on a daily basis, like there should be someone that you're connected to, that you can reach out to, someone you can text, someone you can talk to. I mean, it's very important. And then your environment is everything. People always say, well, we got to get out this environment. But I'm like, I mean, if you're stuck in that environment, at least you can be mentally at another place instead of being at a reality. And to me, that's when it starts. It all starts with your mindset. It always starts with who you're connected to, and making sure that you're reaching out on a daily basis to somebody you can talk to, somebody you can connect to. So that's the point I want to make.
Definitely. That's very important. We got to find that. And again, community, you be that ear. Listen, don't judge people. Right? You say the wrong thing or you judge somebody, that might turn them away. When people are going through these difficulties, dealing with trauma, dealing with a number of things our community deal with. It could be abuse, it could be domestic violence, it could drive us into that space. So when you're a listening ear, do your part to listen. Don't be judgmental, because again, that could be the difference of that first person getting the help or turning to the left and making a bad decision. But go ahead, Kevin. I know you want to jump in.
Yeah, tremendously sorry for your loss, for one. The reason why I have devoted my life to the mental health field is because of situations and conversations like that. It's one of those things where I honestly believe that until you learn yourself, medication therapy will not work anyway. You have to literally know who you are. You have to know your triggers. You have to know, like he said, so you know exactly where you at, so you'll be able to stop yourself from but that's all about knowing who you are. Because the healthcare system, they're prescribing people with depression, anxiety medication, and people that have anxiety, depression medication. So it's hit or miss there too. So we can't depend on, you can't, unfortunately, in the world we live in today, depend on just going to get prescribed the right medication. So you have to literally, the soul searching starts inside of you. Like, and I tell people all the time, like, you got to be, in control of you. Like, you got to know what's going on. Like I say, at 5 years old, I knew I had a problem. Like, nobody could tell me, nobody had to tell me, nobody had to show me anything. I knew on the inside something is different, Kevin. We have to start being honest with ourselves. Stop worrying about what the world thinks about us and start being honest with ourselves. So I think that once we're honest with ourselves, we're able to get the right health care out there, get the right medication, get the right, whatever we need is out there in the world for us. But if we're not honest with ourselves, then we're going to miss it. You could have had help come in so many different forms, but if you're not accepting who you are and accepting exactly where you're at, like, okay, I got anger issues, I got anxiety issues, or whatever it is, you got to accept where you're at and know that doesn't define you. So thank you.
Man, that is very powerful that you said that. But one of the things I want to ask you, Kevin, because I know we got some families, some educators, some teachers that are watching. I just got a text message from somebody. You mentioned that you knew that feeling inside you at 5 years old. How do an educator, how does a teacher, or how does a parent have that conversation and tap in with that young person to really get that conversation out of them so that we can support them?
25 years ago, that conversation would have been a little harder, right? Nowadays, it's easy. We just have the conversation. These kids they've been exposed. Our youth have been exposed to everything. The news there's no censorship on the news. So why do we have a censorship in the way we talk to our kids? Like, we want to tone it down and make them feel a certain way when reality is the world doesn't doesn't tone it down. So we have to meet them exactly where they're at and exactly when there's needs, and have these open dialogue conversations, like, and be honest about exactly what's going on. Like, have you been thinking about harming yourself, or what's going on in your brain? Like, why are we so afraid to ask these ask the real conversation questions that really get to the point of figuring out what's wrong with people? Like, we have to ask the conversation, control the narrative. These kids, these kids know, I live on TikTok, so I know kids know about everything that's going on in the world. We have to present it and start these conversations now more than ever.
Wow, very powerful stuff, Kevin. I agree 100% with you. We got to start the conversation, but I think parents and sometimes, some of the legislative and legal parts keep people from seeking help. A lot of times folks don't want to get 5150. They don't want to, because they feel like they're going to lose their guns. They're going to lose opportunities, so they don't get that help. How do we change that process, right? Because I think some of that too holds people back from getting the support that they need in the community. And then, like you said, how do we not stigmatize it to where if you do go get this therapy, that is not negatively impacting you? You know what I mean? So it's like, that's where we start talking about policies and what that looks like holistically from all of the working intersections of the system, right? Because a lot of folks won't go get that help. If you're a hunter and you want to go hunt all the time, I'm having a problem, I'm feeling bad, but if I go in here and tell them something wrong with me, they're going to take my shotgun away from me. You know what I mean? So we got to think about that as well, right? Or the stigma of if I do this, how does this going to impact me on the other end? All right. If you're a truck driver, if I go get these medications, it's going to affect my employment, right? Things of that nature. I mean, the same thing with CBD and weed, the same type of things. If you get this, you can't do that. So how do we fix that? And how do we model something that really works? Because I agree with Lynette. I don't agree with all of the drugs. You know what I mean? I'm not an advocate for CBDs. I'm not an advocate for weed. I'm not an advocate for none of this stuff. But again, I watch these commercials like everybody else in our community. And every time there's a problem, when you talk about mental health, you talk about anything on there, they say, take this drug. But you look at this drug and it got all these side effects. Oh, if you take this drug, you could be suicidal. You could be depressed. You can have anxiety. You lose your liver. I'm saying, well, why would I want to take that? Right? So like you were saying earlier, one of you guys said about, herbal healing, some of the spiritual healing, some of the organic stuff. How do we implement that into our community? How do we get that knowledge to our community? And I think that's why it's so important on our Educational Thursday, having these folks to come on and educate folks how to get medicine outside Western medicine, right? How to do things organic. We don't teach that to our community. So sometimes our community don't even know, hey, if you having sleeping issues, you don't have to go get, one of these sleeping pills from there. Maybe you take melatonin, or maybe you take some other natural remedy. But how do we educate our community? Because the problem is lack of information, right? How do we intentionally, as community members, advocates, folks who've been through this, how do we teach our community, hey, this is a realm you could do. If you start to feel like this, try this first. Maybe you could get some rest if you take this, or maybe if you take some ginger. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there because I know that there's other remedies. But again, how do we get this information into the community where folks can give it a try organically to really have impact, so that they're not relying on pharmaceutical drugs or whatever drugs that they're doing, because we know that there's a drug issue in our community. A lot of these suicides and homicides happen in our community because folks are on fentanyl, folks are on opiates, right? And we don't talk about that, right? Because, we don't talk about the pain people are feeling and they're overdosing because they don't want to live anymore, but they're doing it through drugs, right? So we got to really address that too, because that is a number that doesn't always get traced in the overall scheme of suicides.
Yeah, and I think we got to start thinking like McDonald's. And I'm just give you a quick analogy. Everywhere you go, you see McDonald's. Everywhere you go, on every block. So the block that Frank stays on, the block that Kevin stays on. I mean, we as a community of Black people have to starting our own group and start speaking into people and allowing the Black community to go to these spots. Now, the problem is, and I see it all the time because I do educate the youth on a lot of information. The problem is we only attracted to what we see. So, and I was that same kid that when you went to school and they brought in a police officer or they brought in somebody of another race, I kind of tuned them out, So now that that I'm an older black man, I can go speak to the youth and empower them. But I think we get so caught up in just living our life, and we forget, like, man, I got 168 hours in the next 7 days. So how can I take some of my time to impact my community so that I can build up another me down the street? So now we have multiple small groups that people connected to, because my message might not resonate with the people that Kevin can touch, the people that Frank can touch, but their message can touch another group of people. So that's what I really want to say.
Man, I'm right there with you, brother. I agree 100% with you. I've been screaming this since COVID. Okay, everybody want to talk about mental health in the black community. Until we invest in mental health like we invested in COVID, it ain't gonna be no change. All right. During COVID, the governor signed bills that nurses that didn't have all the hours or didn't have all the qualifications could get into there. Right. We got all these psychologists, all these therapists that's going to school, and they got all these hours and they can't get in the field because they got to do all these requirements. Why can't the government sign off on that and say, hey, we'll give y'all the experience in the field. We'll let y'all go ahead and take the hours you got and move on, right? We got to start being intentional. These conversations got to start happening. The investment on mental health is going to have to be increased over the next 10 years because it's only going to get worse, right? It's not getting better, right? And now that everybody's starting to identify and understand it's mental health related, we're going to have to really put those funds and those resources to make sure that that is being attacked and addressed on a higher level. Right. I've been shooting this. I know my legislative folks that be listening. I'm a part of a lot of these coalitions that's helping write these bills. And I told them, OK, why can't we start at the employer level? OK, at every job, it's required by OSHA to do a safety training that you mandatory as an employee have to do with your employees, whether it's once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month. Why can't we make mental health like that? Why can't the government say, hey, you're going to give your employees an hour of time to do mental health therapy? Okay. A lot of these cases start from the workplace. People being bullied in the workplace, people being harassed in the workplace. Then they take it home. Then they getting threatened. They're going to lose their job and they ready to jump off or, do something that they're not supposed to be doing. So how do we hold the corporate America accountable as well? A lot of these large institutions, we should be pushing policy to make them accountable as well. When we talk about problems in our community, this is why I get so pissed off with people talking about solidarity. Okay. Solidarity means all communities, all folks come together 365 days a year for all issues that impact our community. Mental health is the biggest issue right now in America that's impacting our community. And how do we all do our part? Employers, corporate America, hospitals, schools, jail institutions. Right? How do we all play our part to make sure that every person in our community gets access and have resources to get mental health services? Too many people are complaining, saying, I have insurance and I can't even get a therapist. We got to change these processes. It's too many loopholes that are hurting our community, continuing to cause harm. Okay, and I'm going to get in with these insurance coalitions because the insurance industry has did a disservice to the Black and brown community when it comes to this topic of mental health and a number of other issues. And there's a lot of disparities that we got to address as a community to hold these folks accountable. So I'm right there with you, King. I think that is a very important thing. Branded like McDonald's. We need it everywhere. Wherever you go, there's somebody. But again, how do we as Black professionals? This is why I get pissed off. All these men and women of our community, boasting and gloating about their accolades. Oh, I got a PhD in this. I'm this. I got a PhD here. Black folks, what are we doing? Black professionals, Black educators, what are we doing to connect these services in our community? I don't understand, okay? If you look at the statistics, social workers, sociology, psychology is the highest sought after a degree in college by Black folks. I don't get it. There's more people in mental health services, social work, and therapy that's Black. But when you look at the representation in the community, the numbers don't make sense. So we got to do something different. So if it's the education process, if it's increasing the wages, whatever we need to do, okay, we need to start doing it. And to all of our doctors, to all of our therapists out there, how do we create our own Black ecosystem? How do we create our own Black therapy network? We got technology now. We got Zoom. You can do telehealth. We just need people talking to people and meeting. When you say meeting where at, That's what I mean. Meet my people where they at. It ain't always about coming to my office. All right. A lot of these mental health providers in our community, they don't want to reach out to our community. They always talk about come to my office, come to my location. We got people in low-income housing. We got people in the projects. We got people that dealing with gang wars. They can't even cross the street to get to your office. How do you put the services in our community? Where's the mobile? All right, everything is mobile. Where's the mobile vans that pull up, right? And you got 3 or 4 therapists in there. We're going to pull up in the hood and we're going to have a conversation. That's what I'm looking for. Wellness in the community. The people in the hood ain't leaving the hood. All right. So now we got to bring the services to the hood. And if that means we got to do it on a bus, we got to do it in an RV, whatever we got to do, let's bring the services to the people. And to all my therapists out there, all the people that's doing this work. Okay. I'm tired of these folks. Okay. There's not all of them, but there's a lot of folks who come in these meetings and say, well, we try to provide this service and these people don't want to come get the service. Wait a second. Be where the young people is. Be where the community folks is, okay? I just came from a number of funerals over the last couple of weeks. The young people were going up there speaking, saying, I don't know what to do. I'm ready to give up. This hurts so much. Where was the mental health therapist at? Okay? We got gunshot victims in our community. Where are the mental health therapists at? Where is the grievance counselors at? When these young folks are in these spaces, this is when these professionals got to show up. Be at the funeral. Okay, let's get 8 or 9 therapists and go to the funeral where a young person just got shot and killed so we could talk to some of these young folks while they're in the middle of their emotions, while they're in the middle of this pain and this hurt. We got to show up where they at. I'm sick of people in these meetings talking about, oh, we got to meet people where they at. Well, what does meet people at? What does that mean? What does that mean to you? So now I got to ask people, when you say meet people where they at, what does that look like to you? Because my look like meeting one of them might not be the same. And we got these folks who come in our community and they do these performative acts about how they doing the work, but you never see them in the community. So I don't get it. But again, I appreciate that comment because I think that's what we need to do. But yeah, the floor is open. We can move in to even more deeper part of it. But that's what we got to start addressing because too many people are poverty pimping our community, getting the resources to do mental health. But when one of our folks in the community gets shot, something happened in the school, a kid get bullied, there's no grievance counselors. I don't see them. Okay. I'm in these black schools. I don't see these therapists. So where are they at? You want to mess with the kids? You got to be where the kids are at. That's all I can say. But go ahead, brothers. I'm going to pass it over to y'all.
I agree
I'm
with
glad that you. I'm glad that you said you start focusing on the why and stop focusing on the how. Because for too long in this world, Black people, we try to figure out how we go do something, and we need to start figuring out why we're not doing it. Because we have the power to do anything on this world. Like anything that we want to do, we have the power to do. The world watches us as do anything. The world watches us. The next dance comes from us. Anything that we create, the world watches. So we need to create a world of healing for each other. And I think that we have to get back to the guidelines of understanding that we have all these powerful, like the black dollar right now is at its highest it probably has been ever. Like it's more black millionaires. We don't have a lack of resources. Like we have a lack of people understanding that they are the resource. Like we are our own resources, and we're waiting for something to be created that we need to create. So I think that we have to get to the point of understanding why aren't we doing this? Not how. How are we going? George Floyd taught us that we can do anything. If we want to stand up together on something, we can do it. We just the air went out of us as soon as that George Floyd was over. It was just like it was over. Now I watched this for 30 days. Keep this whole world at a standstill. So it's not that we can't do it. We just have to do more things to do it.
Kevin, I gotta say this, Kevin, and a lot of people get mad at me. I told people, okay, Donald Trump should have stayed in office. Okay, because as long as he was in office, black folks rallied around each other. Okay, I told black folks, y'all go fight for this Democratic Party. I'm not a Republican. I'm not none of that, right? But I'm just saying, I knew it was gonna happen. Okay, we was organizing. Okay, as long as black folks is pissed off, because I know our people, right? We got to be real. Black folks are reactive. We ain't preventive. We don't do nothing preventive. Okay, we are reactive people. That's just what we become. I'm just gonna be real, because people I don't like BS. That's why this platform is so powerful, because we keep it real. The problem is black folks, we react to everything. So as long as we had this crazy white man saying racist stuff, doing racist stuff. Everybody want to work together in solidarity. Now we got this Democratic Party in here. Everybody like, okay, when nobody's saying anything racist, we can take our foot off the gas. And that's what exactly happened. Okay, so black folks can say where they at, all this stuff. People's coming for me. Where's Kamala Harris at? I don't see her. Okay, but she's so for the people. Again, and it's not about politics, because I don't want to get into that. But I tell black folks, our problem is we know too much history and not enough future. We know too much religion and not enough future. That's our problem. We know too much Democratic Party and not enough our party. You get what I'm saying? We got to get back to our party. They're playing games with us. This performative act of we're going to save you, we're going to help you, ain't no help. We got to help ourselves. So that's why I'm saying these conversations is pushing equity forward. Black professionals, how do we come together and move our community together? But you know what the problem is? It's too many property pimps in our community. That's the problem. It's too many black folks oppressing black folks. Because I got a PhD and you don't have what I got, so I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to charge you this. I'm not going to give you access because I got a PhD, right? And then the flip side, we got people in the hood. Oh, your word ain't good because you ain't been to prison or you ain't been shot, so you can't tell me nothing. So the real problem in our community is how do we get the people up here to meet the people down here in the middle? Because everybody has a voice. But when we don't do that, people say, well, I got a master's degree, I got a doctorate degree, you can't tell me nothing. And you become the oppressor of our community. Those are the people that we got to move out of our community. If they're not moving us forward, we got to move them. I don't care how good they could talk. I don't care how much education they got. If you ain't in the best interest of our people, we got to move you out the way. Because those are the gatekeepers that are keeping our communities from entering and getting this freedom that we need mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. The gatekeepers. All right? That's what it is.
So I just want to say something real quick. And I want to touch on Kevin's point real quick. It's like, it's two acronyms, your why and poor. So your why creates poor. So when I say your why is the acronym for why is what's hurting you. The thing that's hurting you is going to push you forward. All right. So when you understand your why, that why is going to push you to the next level. But what's happening is you don't know your why. So it creates a poor mindset. And poor stands for passing over opportunity repeatedly. We let opportunity pass us by because we don't understand our why. So when you get locked into your why, again, your why don't make you cry. You're not going to be motivated enough to get to where you're trying to go. All right. So it's your why, and it's connected to your poor mindset. But when you understand they come together, you won't let the opportunity pass you by.
Man, that's deep. Lynette, I know you want to jump in. I think I cut you off. Go ahead, Lynette, because I get fired up about these conversations. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sister.
No, I just wanted to answer your question on what I feel like we need to do within our community. And a big thing I feel like is, John, you don't heard me say it before, we need to be giving them some incentives, especially with the youth. These youth are not going to, at least let me say my youth in my community is not going to come to say, I'm here to talk about my feelings today. Oh, I'm here to discuss mental health in the Black community. Oh, I'm here to be a Black man and speak up on what I feel and this, that, the third. So if we get them there and say, oh, we're going to give you $50 gift card to Amazon, a Visa, to come in here and just listen. All you got to do is listen. Once you get the youth in there to listen, then they're going to want to talk, because you can't tell me how I'm feeling and me not want to speak up and say how I'm feeling. And that's just like I said, the youth in my community, we all need it. We all need it, whether we suffer from mental health or not. We need it for the person that we are, the person we sleep next to at night, for the person we wake up and go get in them streets with. So at some point, somebody needs to step up and say, hey, I'm going to give you this. I just want you to listen. That's all it is. I want you to listen. They'll come back. Oh, I'm going to get $50 again if I come back. Oh, y'all going to give me donuts if we meeting. Oh, I get coffee. Oh, I could get some candy. I can get this, that, the third. Just the little things. I know it's sad to say that we need that. But for the youth, and this conversation is so deep and it needs to happen, regardless if it's just the person who's suffering mental health or and going to take their life. But there's also the youth in my community that's going to go out and try to take someone else's life because they don't know how to deal with whatever is going inside their head. Or they just lost their best friend, and now I want to go get back. So now I'm going to go take somebody else's life, and now an innocent kid just died. So it's deeper than just, oh, it's the mental health of one person. So these conversations are definitely needed. And like John said earlier, all these people going to work and suffering from mental health, and it's not being noticed about people needing to get further help for it. It's because of the color that's being missed. Or it's the Black lives being taken away. It's not the white lives. So if the white lives become to start taking their life, oh, we need to go deeper, or we need to get OSHA involved. We need this involved. But yet it's not there. Like the percentages that John stated earlier are become 112, I think it was, for the black women. Just imagine what it is for the black men. So once it becomes white, oh, now I want to step up. So now, like, we need to speak for our own people. We already got the percentages. We need to go somewhere. A lot of us, not just Black men, though, because the ratio right now is 4-1. So we can't say it's not Black men out there willing to speak. So I just feel like it's deeper than just getting these doctors to come to the hoods, because if they're not coming, we step up. I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to school for doctor or sociology. I went to school for criminal justice. So if I'm willing to step up, I know if we get to talking, it's going to be either women, men, anybody, even some of these youth. I got some youth now that I'm working with who don't know how to talk, but yet we speak to each other and we break it down to what we know. We don't need the doctor to step in. No, I'm not a doctor, so I can't get the credit for that. But I know how to talk and know what I go through. I know that when I got on medication for some anxiety, then the thoughts of taking my life became out there, got started. Before that, I didn't have no thoughts or nothing. I may have been depressed, anxiety, not sleeping, but the actual thought to killing myself never occurred until I started getting on medication. So I don't think that that's the route that we need to go, is let's go to the doctors. Let's go to the doctors. And that's the biggest thing that hurts my heart, to see a mother say, I need to take you to the doctor, get evaluated. No, you need to talk to your child. You need to hear where they're coming from. See what's going on with them, why they feel like they need to do this or that, the third. It took for me to cut my hair. If you knew me, one thing I got is hair. I've always had it my whole life. The moment I cut my hair, I should have knew something was going on with me. But I didn't know. I didn't know the principles and everything, or the signs. I didn't know that. When I started taking myself away from my family or taking myself away from my friends, I didn't know that was mental health that I was dealing with. So now that I do know this stuff, I'm ready to help someone else who's 12 years old and just about to start high school, going through these same things, not understanding. Before they have to see, before their aunties or their mom have to see them in a casket and wonder why, wonder how, question back to what could I have done? You couldn't have done nothing and you didn't know nothing. But the youth don't know how to speak up. But I'm getting, like John said, I'm getting a little excited. So I'm past the mic. I'm past the mic.
It's okay. I mean, it's very important information. And, Lynette, I always, uplift and salute you, because you're always the voice for the youth, and you always working with the youth and making sure that they're not forgotten about. And this is not just an easy conversation. I mean, we all have dealt with this. I've dealt with it. It is very triggering. And I know, folks, when these conversations comes up, it's difficult. But like Lynette said, we have to find a way to work with our young people, engage. And that's why I always tell people, you have to connect before you correct. I keep saying that. You have to connect before you correct. You got to get to know these kids, spend time with them consistently so that they can open up to you. You can't just yell at kids. What's wrong with you? Go in the room. Yeah, go play your game. Like, you got to connect with these kids. You have to find out. And we have to pay attention. And too many times in our community, because we're so busy, we're dealing with work, we got single family homes, we're not paying attention to our youth. So they are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They are giving us signs that we're not paying attention to. And this is why I encourage all the young people that I mentor, their parents, watch their social media. Because a lot of times they are crying out for help on social media. I heard somebody say TikTok earlier. These young folks are crying out for help. If you really pay attention to what they're doing, they're crying for help. These breakups, we don't even talk about the relationship, these teenage relationships. As adults, we can handle some of it. What about these 16, 17-year-old young men and women who are going through relationships, 18 to 24, dealing with breakup, dealing with certain things that can drive a person all the way to the left? But we don't talk about that. We do not talk about that. Look at the news, the stories of young brothers killing their kids, killing their wives, because they don't know how to deal with the anxiety, don't know how to deal with the pressure. They don't know how to deal with the anxieties. We got to do something, community. We can't sit back no more. Okay. And this is why this conversation is so important, because we are approaching the holidays. Okay. And we know in the Black community, this is a struggling time for a lot of us when we talk about our parents, the people we done lost, loved ones. Okay. The Thanksgivings ain't right when your people ain't there. Christmas ain't right when your people there. That put people triggered. Relationships, people trying to spend. I mean, it's a lot. So again, this is the time, community, we come together, be a listening ear, do our part as community to check on your loved ones. I tell people, just pick up the phone sometime. How you doing? You all right? Don't just always let your people say they doing good. Nah, let's get to some real stuff. See, every time somebody tell me it's good, I'm going to trigger them in a different way. I'm going to go talk about something that I know might be impacting them just to see where they at. Let's talk about some money. You know what I mean? Let's talk about your life. You doing good there? Maybe that'll get to the real. You want to talk about your relationship? What's going on? Is everything good? Because sometimes we just say everything is fine, and it's really not. Okay, and we suffer in silence, and we destroy ourselves, especially Black men. We will hold on to some stuff. Our girl at the house giving us an earful, and we just hold on to it. Mad, don't know how to release it. If we don't start engaging, we just blow up. And again, we don't want the blow ups. We don't want the extreme, right? And this is why I say it's so important for the women in our community, the families in this community, when people are going through stuff, be an open ear and give the right advice. And if you can't do it, connect them with somebody that can. But we cannot continue to promote and provoke some of this negative stuff that's going on, especially in our music. Subconsciously, this plays on us. And that's where we become weak and vulnerable to a lot of things, and we just can't be comfortable. I always tell people, you become comfortable, you become vulnerable to something. But again, the connection, the brotherhoods, the sisterhoods, how do we build that up in our community? Black man, we know the barbershop is our space, but sometimes we go to the barbershops and it ain't always the great information. Who's going to help facilitate those? Who's going to keep everybody accountable, right? We got to make sure that the people that are leading, we are holding them accountable as well. So a lot of work to do. But we're going to keep pushing on in this conversation. And I know there's a couple of questions. Why don't Black men and boys ask for help? Maybe some of y'all could jump in on that. Another question was, as community, how do we make a difference? Those were a couple of questions that came in. Y'all can go ahead and take a shot at any one of those if y'all want, or if it's another direction y'all want to go, I'm open to it. We got about 45 minutes left before we end today's show. So let's have at it. Let's jump into it.
Well, I think why a lot of young Black men don't ask for help because they don't feel connected to the person. See, when I was growing up, we basically grew up in a community of drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody we seen was drug dealers. Everybody. I mean, if you had a nice car, you sold drugs. So we idolize what we seen. So since we idolize what we seen, we listen to them. To what we seen, but the information that they gave us was horrible information. So again, that's why I'm big on making sure that you're connecting to the place you're trying to go. Because when you connect, if I connect something to an outlet, it's going to give us the source of power. So I really try to tell all the young kids is, because my biggest thing is telling the young men, like, get your swag on. All right. And there's an acronym I created. It's called Stop Wasting Abilities and Gifts on Nothing. I think a lot of kids, when they understand that they have the abilities and gifts, and we don't always keep pounding them with go to school, get a good job. We really tell them, like, what is it that you want to be, and then help them get to that place, whether it's a trade, whether it's whatever it is, it helps that kid mentally get on track. But I think the problem is that they're so all over the place that the Bible basically says that you should train the child in the way you wish that the child should go, and they should never depart from their ways. But the problem is we've been trained in the community is, man, that dude sell drugs, so I'm gonna go sell drugs. Man, he making money, so I'm gonna be connected to that. So us in the community, that's why I try my hardest to go back, and so that they can see me, somebody who's successful, somebody who's job free, somebody who's a full-time entrepreneur, and say, listen, I'm still that same hustler, but I don't sell drugs. I know how to make money. You know what I'm saying? We're having my own job. me creating my own business, me hiring people. I know how to create, but I'm still the same hustler, but I'm a hustler that do it the right way.
Man, that's very true, very deep. Brother Frank, go ahead. I see you off your mic.
Just I guess touching on the question, why don't black men and boys ask for help? I think it's more of an issue in society. We're groomed not to be emotional. Like Kevin said earlier, it's certain talks that, like in the black community as a whole, we don't talk about. So it's like, if you're already groomed to not be emotional, right? And then being part of the black community, I'll say the black community is the most oppressed, yet the most judgmental. So on top of already not being able to talk about your feelings, if you go that route, you'll be judged. It makes you shut down even further. And I guess being a black man is weird because out of the wide dynamic range of emotions that we have, right, there's only two that's really acceptable: being happy or being pissed off, one or the other. We don't get the chance to let, to express ourselves in the many ways we can, So I guess anything that seems that like it's too vulnerable at times, it's like, it's not socially acceptable, in our community. And I think that that's something that I guess could be tackled or changed through, I guess, parenting. Times changed, now it's acceptable to talk about mental health and feelings and all of this stuff. So as parents, I think, with our sons, it's our opportunity and it's our time, to let our children or our sons, if they don't want to do it in front of women, to be vulnerable with us, as men. Come to us, talk to us about the stuff that you're dealing with. If you're having feelings that, you might not want the world to see, you have that safe place. You can come to me and you can talk to me, So I think that, creating that dialogue with, especially, our children, especially our sons, it's like, it's important. It's really important.
Go ahead, Kevin. I see you came off.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that is extremely important. Men don't talk, males don't talk because we haven't been taught to process emotions. We haven't been taught that it's okay. Like, I'm glad he said, we only allow 2 emotions. There's a million emotions that we can go through on a day, but we're only allowed to feel 2. So we suppress those other emotions, and then we wonder why a man is feeling overwhelmed. He can't explain. Growing up, they tell us to treat people how you want to be treated. We never were taught how to treat ourselves. There's no book that teaches us educational wise how to have self deposits of love to ourselves. So we are treating you how we treat. A lot of us don't treat ourselves right. So we are treating you like we treat each other. Like, so I think that until we learn, and we have to redefine the definition of strength, like especially for men. Like, we don't, that word is what's strong. We're considered as a strong black man is so far from what a strong black man really is, because in that definition there is no room for vulnerability. There's no room for really being open and honest about who you are. There's only room for putting this front on like you have it all together. And I think that we have to get better as far as understanding that these emotions, I cry every day, whether it's on the outside or whether it's inside. And I will say that as a man, I cry every day, whether it be happy tears, bad tears, sad tears. I cry for the world. I release that emotion every single day. And I'm okay with admitting that. Because I've talked to so many men and like, man, I ain't cried in years. How do you go years with that suppressed emotion? Like, it makes you out to be who you are. You're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to have all these emotions all over the place. We have to get better with just, if I'm mad right now, I'm going to be mad in that moment. I'm not going to be mad for the rest of my life, but I'm not going to suppress that emotion and then wait 20 years for me to be mad. And now I'm mad for 20 years or something. That, like, we have to get better. If I'm crying on Tuesday, it's because I'm sad. I'm not going to wait and cry 3 months from now. And now I'm crying for not only Tuesday, for the whole 3 months of me not worried about crying for Tuesday. We got to just get better at handling these emotions and being okay with processing them. So I thank you, Frank, for saying that, man. That's powerful.
I mean, I want to jump in there and say this too, Kevin, because I think, this stuff is generational, right? And how do we get men in the community? Because, first time you got a son, a nephew, boy, stop crying, suck it up. Stop crying like a little girl, right? That's, that's what we do in the community, right? How do we fix that, right? And I think you hit something that I've been trying to I just got so many things to come on, but I've been trying to figure out how do we create a Black parenting book for Black fathers and Black mothers, right? Because there is no book, right? I remember when I had my daughter, they had some parenting book from the hospital. It's like white kids on there, family. I don't identify, right? I always told my daughter, I say, I didn't get the instructions how to be a great dad, but I learned from the mistakes that I made and I corrected them to be the best that I could be. There's enough dads out here in America who have raised kids. How do we get those dads to put their input to create that book? Because all we did was learn, right? But the things that we learned, how do we put that in there to feed back to the community? I think that would be the best seller. You just take all these Black men from all over the country that, well, my kid, I did this. When there was tension, I did, you know what I mean? And just take those steps to walk the next young generation of young brothers. This is what you might have to deal with when you're dealing with a teenage kid who want to be cool or his ego is high. You know, same thing with the women. I think we need to create that because there's so many phenomenal stories. And this is why I get frustrated when women say Black dads don't care and all this, because there's a lot of dads who do some phenomenal things, right? How do we create that book? Collectively, right? Like, how do we like this is you pick what works for you. We got to have a book that we just don't go chapter A to Z 1 to 20, right? It just these are the chapters that cover all of this. These are the number of messages, and you know what I mean? Just pick one and just go through it, you know. But go ahead, Frank. I see you coming on, brother.
No, I was saying this. I was thinking it's one of those things about, I guess, as a community, we need to start celebrating the right things. You know, like we have, you know, the people that, you know, sell drugs in our community or whatever. And because you see the material possessions, you're like, okay, yeah, we're celebrating that, right? But the thing is, when you see, you know, another brother doing the right thing, taking care of his kids, working hard, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't think that people like that get the most recognition or as much recognition as they deserve. And I think, you know, by celebrating each other when we are doing well and we're doing the right thing, it's like, it leads us to a point to where it makes other people want to, you know, emulate that. And, you know, more people will start going on that right path.
No, I agree 100% with you. And that's why I've been trying to build this coalition of folks up. How do we celebrate our folks, right? Let's go celebrate the Black construction dads that's out at the construction site. Let's go down to the tech company. And, you know, because you're right, Frank. We go to these football games, these Pee Wee games, and we celebrating our kids for the amazing game that they had, right? We celebrate these community coaches and all these different folks. When do we go to the spaces and celebrate these people to make that cool? Because if the young kids see us going, hey man, great job. We're gonna throw something for this. This is the construction dad of the year. This is the electrician of the year. You see what I'm saying? Like, this dude is cool and he living a good life. How do we sell that? Because you're right. We sell the drug, the fast cars, the money, the video, and our young kids think that's the only way. And that's why I try to partner with some of these tech companies and different folks and say, look, man, let's have a day where all y'all tech guys, y'all bring out y'all Lamborghinis and y'all Ferraris, and y'all come show these young Black kids in our communities that here these people drive Ferrari, but you don't see them on the screen. But then when you ask those people, you only see 1 or 2 brothers. Where the brothers at? You get what I'm saying? And this is why I say these performative acts when these folks talk about inclusion and equity. If our building and spaces or the spaces that they occupy don't have Black folks in there, then you ain't about equity. You go to Twitter, you go to Google, you go to all these Fortune 500 companies, it ain't no Black folks that's up there on that level that's doing it. So the real question becomes, don't just come out here and say Black Lives Matter, we about equity. Show it so that we can show the young kids in our community, hey, this guy is a financial advisor, okay? He got big money. He drives Lamborghini and he flossing, right? And we can change that light, and them kids start thinking, hey man, I want to be a financial advisor. I want to be a stockbroker, because they think it's cool. So how do we highlight them and make them cool so that our young people see that and want to fester and go into them areas?
I guess probably invitation awareness, you know. It's a lot of ways you can bring people together, you know. Like, it's like even social media. We brought up the whole thing about how certain things trend on TikTok, trend on Instagram, you know. Like, there's ways that this can be promoted and probably, you know, put in place, you know. It's just, I guess, ultimately we have to be creative. I don't have the ultimate answer for it, but you know, we got to be creative with it, you know, because it's people there that want to be there, you know, that do want to be there for the community, but it's all about, I guess, figuring out the formula to make it happen, you know.
I agree right there with you, Frank. I think a couple of things is Black people and Black communities. We got to stop being afraid of the unknown, right? Because the unknown is what keeps us from moving forward. Also, we got to be okay with innovation. Too many times in the Black community, we stuck what we've been doing because that's what we know. You hear it all the time. Oh, this is how we've been doing it. We have to be open to change. We have to be open to new ideals. And this is why I get so mad with some of the cities and some of the folks when it comes to these grants and it comes to certain stuff, because people are so afraid to try something new. They don't want to go to the new organization and try something. All they want to do is the people they're comfortable with. How do we get our people? How do we get our elected officials to stop being comfortable and be okay? Because I'm going to tell you right now, okay, even with this street violence that's going on, all these organizations that say they do violence prevention, I tell them it ain't working. The violence numbers is going up, okay? So whatever is working is not working. So why be scared to try something new that you don't know? Well, we don't know if this is going to work or not. Well, what you got ain't working. You got to try something. And it's like, that's where we need to start going. How do we get more people in the community to be open to new ideas, new thought processes, and new changes? Because a lot of these old mechanisms are not working. So to me, it doesn't matter. You pay them $50 million to do violence prevention. They ain't stop no violence in our community. But this guy got a new idea, but nobody want to try it because we don't know him. He knew, and we don't know if this going to work. But what we got ain't working. So you're throwing money away either way. Maybe some of these new ideas might be a part of change. It might be an opportunity for us. I don't know, but I'm thinking like we got to be open in our community. Black folks, we are too comfortable with the same old, and it's insanity. That's why we ain't going insane a lot of time, because we're doing the same stuff over and over. So we got to be open to innovation. We got to be open to each other. We got to be open to new ideas, and we got to continually come to the table. We got to get out of this instant gratification. We got to get out of this self, me mode, right? It's just like we're in this mode. We're the people that's about the people. I'm so sick of these people that's like, oh, me. Nobody acknowledge me. Nobody. So what? It's not about you. It's about the people. Let's go impact the people. How you going to bless the people? So that's where I'm trying to get to. And, I'm trying to continue to move with other folks that's trying to change the narrative. It's not about us. It's about the community. The better our community is, the better off we are. The better our young people are, the better off we are. So it just takes a lot. And we got this work to do. But I am so proud of all you kings and the young queen on here, because, again, you are the hope. You are the innovation that's going to continue to move the needle forward. Your stories are so powerful, and somebody out there is going to be impacted. And that's what it's all about. When we talk about impact, if it's one life, two lives, whatever it is, if you touch somebody and you get that mental thought process to change that needle anyway, job done, job well complete. Let's settle it. Let's, celebrate that for sure. But yeah, the other things are, while we here, because we're getting close, 30 minutes left. We always want to talk about, the resources, and we also want to find out the solutions from you all. What do you think could be done just from your perspective? And I know each person have their own different perspective of things that we could do, like you said, at a small micro level. What can we do? And then the continued signs. I think while we have families watching, Kevin, you talked about being 5 years old, having these feelings. I just want to make sure that we speak to our community folks that are watching right now. What are the things, if you're a busy mom or a busy dad, or you a single parent, you're working 2 jobs and you don't have all of that time, right? What can we give them as things that we need to be looking out for? Lynette, you could jump in there, because I want parents in the community. I want grandma. I want grandpa. I want the community folks, the organizations. When we see young folks walking the streets, on the bus, what are we looking out for that we should be paying attention to? Either ask a question, give them some information. What should we be looking out for to identify if somebody's dealing with something, whether it's suicide or just going through some kind of mental health?
I think the first thing would be the change in attitude. Sometimes when people are going through depression, especially in the Black community, it's just taken as a personality defect. That person just has a bad attitude because they're not talking, So normally that's a clear indicator. When somebody shuts down and withdraws, they'll stop talking to you, stop talking to friends. They're not as social. A second one that's kind of a giveaway too is a change in physical appearance. When people stop caring about how they look, you don't put the effort into yourself anymore. With kids, I guess it's hit or miss, because teenagers, they go through their phases where they kind of weird at times anyway. But, you know, it's like most kids want to be social, you know? So I guess those are the two for me.
I believe every human is every human, because we were all created by God. Every human is a routine person. You want to find out where somebody's changes are, you have to look for their routine. We shower the same way. You don't even know you dry off. When you dry off the same way. You've been drying off the same way your whole life. When you brush your teeth the same way. When you put your shoes on, it's either left or right or left. It's the same. We are routine people. There's every reason why we are the way we are comes from a reason of something that happened. Like she said, when she cut her hair, she should have known. People with long hair been having long hair now. All of a sudden they cut it. People that wear glasses, one day they're not wearing them. People that have a lot of facial hair, one day they shave it off. We don't pay attention to routines. You cannot get away. I don't care how somebody looks, their routine changes. Like, and once you see somebody's routine change, then you know something's going on, because we do the same thing every day. Like, you don't even realize that you literally get up and you do the same thing every day. Whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you get up and do the same thing. You just don't realize it. And so I think that until we start really paying attention to people that we say we love, like really paying attention to what's going on, then we can't help but lose anybody, or we can't help but see what's going on with somebody, because we're really paying attention. We're in tune with what they got going on, especially kids. Kids are routine. Adults, we kind of go away from, we try to like change it. Kids are for sure routine. Like, they do the same thing every day. So I think that we have to pay more focus on what they're doing. Ask the right question, like control the narrative. Don't just say, how was your day? And they just say, good. What made your day good? What made it bad? What could have made it better? Like, we have to get involved in what people's lives, so people know that we care about them. Because I've been to enough funerals. I think we all been to funerals. How hard are funerals? So why won't we try to do more when somebody's alive? For the life of me, I just don't understand it. So we definitely just have to pay attention to the routines.
You know, I think I kind of want to like switch it up real quick. And I like to always go back to harp on mindset. You know, you said something earlier, you said hope. You know, there's an acronym that I live by with hope. Hope stands for help other people excel. I believe if you help enough people, you know, I believe that we all have our own DNA. All right. And I got an acronym for DNA, which means you are designed to notice your assignment. We all have an assignment that God has, that we need to be connected to these people. So our assignment, we need to always be connected to these people. I tell people all the time too is, don't waste 5 minutes with something that ain't gonna matter 5 months from now. Don't waste your time. So get locked in, and I'm really big on mindset and setting the standards, setting the culture, letting people know, like, man, listen, you can shift your mind, all right? But in order to shift your mind, you have to connect yourself to the right people.
Man, that's very powerful. I think you hit the nail right on the coffin, or the nail on the hammer, as they say. I think that's what we have to do, and it takes a lot. You know, I kind of started seeing it when kids are gaming, right? And I'm just like, these kids, when I was a kid, they want to get outside and do something. But this gaming age has a lot of concern with me when it comes to mental health, because these kids don't want to get outside. They isolated. You know, we don't know how to connect no more. And you're right. We got to do more. But again, these assignments that you're talking about, we got to do a better job in our community of getting involved. I keep telling people we are the most neutral-based community now. Everybody, we just sitting in neutral. It's like the Black community's not moving forward. We're not in reverse. We just sitting in neutral. We got to get, just involved. We got to start going. We got to start doing. We got to start creating. I just, people ask me, they say, John, you go so hard, man. You ain't sleeping. You ain't doing this. And I always say, man, my ancestors didn't get no rest. Black folks have become so entitled in America with our living and our opportunity that we just don't do nothing no more. Nobody wants to volunteer. Nobody wants to help out. Nobody wants to get involved. But everybody wants to complain and say what the problem is. We do need some solution-based people. We do need some people that's going to put boots on the ground. And that's why I do it, because I'm like, hey, I'm not going to keep just talking about people. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start getting involved, right? I'm gonna take action. And I think in the Black community, we got to take a deep look in the mirror at what's our place, what's our value. Do we really care about our people? We talk about Black love, we talk about Black empowerment. We watch these Black Panther movies, we watch all of this Black. But when you get down to the roots of the community, where are the people at? I'm too tired. I worked a long shift. And, I think about our ancestors and I say, man, them folks work jobs. Sometimes they was in slavery and they still met and talked about how they going to do stuff. We have become a generation and a community of quitters is what I'm seeing. We got a generation of quitters. We got to fix that. The elders, they're burnt out. They're tired. The young people want to get involved. Nobody want to pass the torch. Everybody wants to be the man or the woman. Like, we got some real hard questions that we got to really address in our community because I'm tired of it. It is too many elders in the community holding on to the torch. I got elders in the community telling me, John, well, who I'm going to pass the torch to? What young person I'm going to give it to? Pass it to somebody. Well, they don't know. Well, you didn't know when you had your opportunity. You didn't know either. The only way we're going to make change is we got to make the mistakes. Our elders in the community are afraid of mistakes. Oh, well, we tell these young folks they might mess up. The only way you learn is through mistakes. And I keep telling them, you only got wisdom. You only got knowledge because of the experiences and the mistakes you made. Anybody, a parent, you only learn by what you did wrong. Relationship, you only learn by the things you did wrong. Right? So we got to empower our young people. We have to get them involved. We have to bring them to the table. But elders of the community, we got to release the power. We got to start connecting the young people with the people that they need to be connected. We are the only community, Black community, that when our elders die off, it takes us 10 years average to pick up that pace because we don't properly institute the information to the young folks. The Japanese community, the Asian community, the Jewish community, they teach their young leaders now. These are the people important. These are the people you got to connect with. This is how you keep. We hold on. I want to be the man. I don't want you to meet the connect. I don't want you. We don't even want to do that. Every other community is advancing because they equip their young people with the information, the knowledge, and they push folks forward. It goes back to the oppressors. We are oppressing our own people. It's elders in the community talking about, I'm going to die. I said, why you want to die with all the information? Give it to somebody. Oh, they got to figure it out on their own. Why do we continue to cause harm to each other? We got to work better, community. Elders of the community. We got to step up. We got to get out our egos. We got to get out our titles. We got to start moving our community forward. And it's going to take y'all to work with our young people, connect with our young people, start introducing our young people to the people that they need to know so that when you pass away and move on, they can keep pushing forward. Again, a lot of work to do. It just takes a lot. But anybody else want to jump in there? We're getting close to wrapping up. But if anybody want to jump in there, because I know it's more.
I like the fact what you said. Like, to me, stewardship creates ownership. All right. So when you can steward the next generation in and teach them things like fear, which means false evidence appearing real or fail early and responsibly, when you can start teaching them these things and start to let them know that, hey, man, you can be me. But in order for you to be me, I have to teach you my mistakes, you know what I'm saying? So that you don't run into those same mistakes. And the problem is everybody want to try to blaze a trail when the trail's already blazed, when you can just allow me to come through the trail, you know? So why you don't just let me come through the trail? You're like, oh, just learn on your own. So now I got to learn on my own. Now I got to go try to blaze my own trail. And it's causing me heartache and pain. It took you 10 years when it could have took me 10 months if you would have stored me to be the ownership. So please, I try to tell the Black community, please, now don't be a good steward so you can help us to become the best version of ourselves so it don't take me 10 years of your mistakes. The problem is I'm blazing a new trail and I'm hitting the same mistakes that you hit. You know what I'm saying? When you could have stopped me from hitting those mistakes and let me get to where I need to go. So that's all I want to say, man. Stewardship create ownership.
Hey, good brother. I'm glad you said it because that's what it is, right? And it's this mentality that we have in our community. If I know something and I teach you and you take off and blow up bigger than me, I don't want to see you do that. This is why we do this. We got to name it. We got to call it what it is. It's the crab in the barrel mentality. I don't want to see you advance faster than me, brother. That's what it is. Because if I tell you and you make $1 million and I didn't, I don't want to see you to have it, right? I had people calling me all the time. They starting a podcast. I said, listen, brother, I'm going to support you. I'm going to uplift you. I shocked a bunch of brothers. I don't care about competition. You get what I'm saying? I'm really about uplifting my community and my people. All I tell them is we can have 1 million podcasts. We can have 1 million conversations. Just make sure you're blessing the people with resources and information. Because what God got for me, God got for me. What God got for you, he got for you, brother. It doesn't matter. Why is it that we the only community to do this? We could go anywhere in America. You can have 10 nail shops on the same corner by Chinese folks. And I'm going to tell you what they do. They all going to keep the same price. So it don't matter what dough you work in, $30 is $30. Black folks, you come to my store, I'm going to down cut the guy next to me. Oh, you come over here, I can get it, you get it $15 cheaper. Like, we got to stop this madness in our community. We got to call it what it is. It's madness. It's self-hate, and it's keeping us from advancing. These other folks, we need to follow their models since we can't follow our own models. They got it right. They like, man, I talked to this dude. He said, John, you know what we do? We make sure the price stay the same all across the care. We don't care. Why we worried about if it's the same business on the same block? We the only one that do that, black folk. Oh, I got a basketball AAU over here. Now he trying to open up one across the street. He trying to take my kids. Why you got to be the man? He got some kids that he can reach. You got some kids you can reach. You got all your kids playing. Maybe he can put some of these other kids and give them some playing time. Oh, but you don't want to see him get a part of the pie. That's the problem we deal with in black community. I don't know why we do this, but we do it. I had a brother tell me, man, John, I set up shopping at the lake. I had a food pop-up. He said, man, I pop up, I'm selling food over there. Another brother come over there, and man, you too close to me selling the same thing I'm selling. What difference does it make? If we work together, look, bro, if you charging $10 for a hamburger, I'm charging $10 for a hamburger. I don't care which one is which. If your line long, they come to my line. If your line long, they come to your line. We still getting our $10. That's the approach that we need to have in our community. Reciprocity. We got to bring it back. We're not showing no love. But again, it takes work. It takes these conversations. And as black men, we got to check each other. Because a lot of times we are doing some foul stuff to each other that we don't need to be doing. We can't be hating on each other. We can't be putting each other down. We got to uplift it. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to keep it real because our sisters do a way better job. Brothers be hating. Oh man, he think he all that. He got some more money. Oh, he got a few more followers than me. Like, come on, bruh. Like, we gotta change that, man. We got a lot of work. We got to start empowering each other. That's why I always say kings supporting kings. I go out, I support the kings in the community. I support the queens of the community. I spend my dollars black. I do my best to go as much as I can black on everything that I do. Right? If I can't find a black business, I'm going to my Latin brothers. If I can't find a Latin brother, I'm going to go outside, right? But I'm still trying to impact the people. And that's what we got to do. We still men at the end of the day. Forget the race. We all men. How do we as men support each other? We got the same struggles. We dealing with the same stuff. We complain about the same things. Why are we so connected? But we don't know how to pull it together where we can uplift and support each other. A lot of work we got to do. But again, I appreciate you all having this conversation and being real and authentic, because I think sometimes we don't name this mess. And this shit is getting out of control. I'm just going to be real. It's getting out of control, right? And this is why we got this killing in our community. We got these fake big homies and OGs, scared to go do their time, so they selling our young folks out. Hey, bro, I hear it. Hey, man, you hold the gun. Police ain't going to take you to juvenile. If I get caught, I'm going to prison. Like, why are we causing harm in our community like that? We're supposed to be better than that. No big homies. You ain't no big homie. You ain't no big bruh. You ain't no, come on. If you not leading the community right, you a problem. We got to call it what it is, because our community is suffering right now, and it's going to take all of us to come together and fix this issue, and it starts with mental health. That's just what it is. A lot of work. But Lynette, you wanted to say anything? Oh, go ahead, brother.
I just want to say one thing before we go, though. So I tell people all the time, excuses are reasons for being useless. If you want to continue to be useless, keep giving me the same excuses, man. And the only reason why I truly build my personal company, Why Now Is Your Time, is to teach people how to design their life, create their brand, but most importantly, leave your legacy. Because at the end of the day, so many ideas are left at the gravesite. Some of the best ideas, people die with them because nobody wanted to share Nobody wanted to help. Nobody wanted to invest in them. And then we die with these great ideals, or you live with your ideals and you see somebody else 5 years later come up with it. And it's like, man, I had that ideal 5 years ago. But the people you connected to never really push you or wanted to invest in you, man. And it's like we to me, and I'm just being who I am, Black people got some of the greatest ideals, all right? But we give the white people so much credit. You know what I'm saying? We give them so much credit, like they just these great inventors and all of this. But if you look at your history, from the red light to the peanut butter, if you start looking at all the stuff the Black people created, we can create. We have to start creating, and we have to line ourselves up with our vision, man, and go get the things that we deserve. But we have to empower each other and understand that it's our time right now. So that's all I want to say.
Man, that is very powerful, brother. I'm glad you said that, because that's what we at. It's our time. We are some great people. I heard somebody say it earlier. Black folks spend more money than any other race on this planet. So why can't we own nothing? Because I'm starting to get mad. I started looking at the numbers. 20-something trillion Black folks are spending, but we got no ownerships. We got food deserts in our community. We can't even get a grocery store in the hood. We can't even get a high-end store in the hood, but we spend the most money. We don't even have a Black-owned laundromat, a Black-owned car wash, a Black-owned apartment complex, a Black-owned hospital. The necessities that we need, we don't even have in our community. So I'm disappointed. That's why I say, Black folks, don't tell me about how successful you is. Don't tell me about all your degrees. I don't want to hear it. We don't own nothing. We're getting pushed out of our communities because we don't own nothing. But we spend the most money. We blow up every other community but our own. Is it self-hate? Do we really love ourselves? Is it self-hate? We'll go buy the Gucci. We'll go buy the Prada. We'll go buy the Herman bag. But the sister down the street, we won't purchase her bag. Oh, the material's not good enough. Oh, this is too expensive. Oh, this is not. Really? This is my people. This is what we do. We got some work to do, Black folks. I'm glad the brother said it. We can't keep blaming white folks. We can't keep blaming the Asian folks. We can't keep blaming the Latin folks. When are we going to take accountability? When we going to spend our dollars with ourselves? Why we can't take that $22 trillion and spend it with our people? Why we can't start building our own businesses? Why we can't construct our own apartment complexes? Why we can't build our own hospitals? See, now we ask you to look in the mirror. What part you have? All these doctors, I'm around these doctors. Oh, I'm a Black doctor, I'm a doctor. Okay, it's 20 of y'all. Oh, y'all making all this money, huh? Oh, y'all got all these degrees, huh? It's 20 of y'all. Y'all can't open up your own health care for the Black folks in the community? Come on, man. We terrible. We got Atlanta. We got different models where it's all Black folk, but what do we own outside of these spaces? How do we collectively build the ecosystem that brings financial prosperity to our community? How do we build ownership in our community so we don't keep getting gentrified? We only getting gentrified because we don't own nothing. That's why I'm about ownership. That's why I'm pressing my people. When we talk about reparations, we want ownership. I don't want to lease. I don't want to rent. Don't give me a storefront and tell me, hey, we gave you a storefront and I don't own it. That's not equity. I need to own it so that the rent don't go up when y'all ready to push me out. I want ownership. So when the laws change, you can't just move me because I own it. You get what I'm saying? We got work to do, community. Sitting around doing nothing is holding us back. Okay? We got to start moving. We are in neutral. We are stagnated in our community. We got to start moving. We got to do something. We're going to have to talk. We're going to have to come together because times is getting rough. They are going to make it. We're going to have to come together. So let's figure it out now before we, again, stick to our reactiveness. Let's be proactive. Let's be intentional. Brother, let me spend my dollars with you. Let me spend my dollars with you. Let's build up something. Let's help each other. That's what we got to do. But with that being said, we are getting close to time. We got to get out of here. So I want to give everybody a day back. This has been a powerful conversation. It's been touching. My blood is flowing. Lynette, no, I get excited about conversations because I see brothers, sisters having a conversation together. The community is being impacted. I'm ready to go. I'm fired up. My Niners lost. So I'm fired up. But it's a positive thing. We're going to make change. We're going to make change. With that being said, this is what I want to do every show before we leave. We give all our panelists an opportunity to give out shout outs, a final word to the community. I want to do that now. I want to give each one of you some time. Take your time, whatever you want to say. Shout out to people who support you. Shout out to family. This is your time. Promote your business. But this is the time before we leave. Talk to the people. Leave them with something. Somebody out there is watching who might be on the verge of taking a life. Somebody out there might be dealing with depression right now. And something somebody said on here is making them think. Today, before we leave, give that message to them. Feed them. Empower them. Leave them with something. We're going to start with you, Kevin. We'll move to Lynette, and then we'll just move around to the brothers around.
First thing I can say is the power lies within you. We have to start accepting who we are. Part of who I am today is only from accepting who I am, and everything that comes with the journey of being Kevin Berthia, and not giving myself grace for the times that I didn't know what I didn't know. Like life is about learning, and each and every day you get the opportunity to learn something new about yourself. But give yourself grace. Life is not easy. It's not. It's just worth it, but it is worth it. And so if you're out there, if you're struggling, if you're battling, I don't want people to fill your head up and tell you that life is easy. And life is hard. Life in this world is a hard place, but you have everything to sustain it. You were created for your hard life to sustain anything that you have to go through and anything you have to endure. And just know you got people that really are praying for you. I get up and I pray for humanity every single day. So if you haven't prayed for yourself, just know I'm praying for you. Just stay encouraged. So I thank you for that.
Man, thank you, Kevin. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your story. Appreciate your vulnerability, brother. Very powerful stuff. Continue to keep spreading the good word. I always tell people your testimony is going to help impact somebody. Keep telling your story. It's okay. We're going to heal our community through these conversations. Again, both sides of the conversation, we believe through communication, a healing process begins. Today, I felt it. I had some questions that I had to ask myself again. Again, am I doing the right things? Am I getting all of the support I need? It's the thing that we got to do. It's called checking in, baby. That's what we got to do. Check in. Today was the check-in. The alarm is going off, community. The alarm is going off. Don't hit the snooze button. You just heard some powerful folks. Gave some great information. Don't hit the snooze button. There's something inside of you bothering you. Don't hit the snooze button. We're ringing the alarm. Pay attention, community. Pay attention. Thank you, Kevin. Keep doing the things you're doing, brother. And I'm looking forward to getting you back soon one day and just being in space with you. Lynette, go ahead and give them some parting words to the community. My little queen here. This is my young rider. She is so resilient. She does so much. Lynette, talk to the people.
I want to first say thank you again to you all for being here and saying anything that you guys said today, the knowledge you gave me as well as the listeners. But I did want to put a little thing. We say, how do we go and get our community back in it? I think it's time for me to go start knocking on doors, getting some signatures. Yeah, my son's gonna come, my daughter's gonna come. I think it's time to break it back down to back in the day, because I ain't seen nobody coming around with their little clipboards. Oh, I would like to no, we're gonna bring it back to them days. But I also want to know, reaching out, even if we don't have this funding, I'm giving my time. If I could just reach out to any of you guys today, and to move forward, we could do something now. Even if you have a little hour of the day, if I get some youth to get on a call with y'all, get on that call, no funding, no nothing. It's gonna get hard trying to find them youth that's not doing it for the incentives now, but I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna bring them. If I bring them, y'all gotta be there for me. Y'all gotta help me. As y'all being here tonight, I'm hoping that we can move forward and get something started. And for anybody out there listening, you need somebody to talk to, you want to just hear something out, hear anything, you can hit me up, email me, text me, hit me in my DMs, or whatever the case is. If y'all need somebody, I'm volunteering my time right now to let you guys know I'm an open ear for anybody and everybody.
Wow, powerful stuff. Thank you for always doing what you do, Lynette, and we'll find some funding, but we'll do it. I'll be there. And we'll just keep plugging along. But yeah, we got to get the kings in the community to stand up. But again, And this is why I'm always fighting for the brothers, these elected officials. Y'all got to put some funding and money out there for the brothers that's doing it. I'm tired of my brothers that could be a great resource to our community. We can't keep paying them $25 an hour. We can't offer them the low amount, okay? I am tired of black folks, black organizations, cities and counties. They are willing to pay millions and millions of dollars for consultants. But these brothers here, we wouldn't give them $500 an hour because they feel it's too much. We got to change that motto. Change the narrative. We got to think about how things are going. Because I'm going to tell you now, I'm tired of it. I see all these consultants making $20, $30 million, $5 million to put a plan together to tell us how to reach our community. When we got foot soldiers right here on this screen that's doing the work in the community, why we can't pay them $500 an hour? Come on. We got to think about this. It's a lot of money going out there. There's a lot of funding sources. We got to start impacting the people that can do the work and can connect with the people. A lot of these folks that's getting the money, they can't connect with our people. All right. So we got to do that work. It's a lot. But thank you, Lynette, for always being a leader, being an ear, and always being there to support folks. You show up for a lot of people. And I just want to tell you, I'm proud of you. Even being a mother, you still take time out for the people in the community. God is going to continue to bless you for all the great things that you do. So keep pushing. And I'm here on the side of you. And we're going to make sure we get this thing right. And we're going to keep impacting our community. All right. My brother, Leonard, it's your time, brother. Talk to the people before we get out of here today.
Man, listen, I just encourage you guys, man. Listen, I wrote a book. I released it back in January, sold a lot of copies. It's not a bestseller because it's a personal book. I sold to thousands of people. Just go to whynowIsYourTime.com. I'm going to tell you guys, get locked into your dreams. Don't let nobody discourage you on what you can and what you cannot do. The journey of entrepreneurship is a lonely journey because everybody not doing it, but I'm connected to multimillionaires. We're on our way to 6 figures a month. Man, I'll just tell you guys, man, believe in yourself, believe in your dream, speak to yourself, speak to your environment. And I'll tell you right now, you can do it. You can do it. Nobody else can tell you anything else. I'm going to tell you, you can do it. If you want to be job free, you want to be where you're trying to be in life, you can do it. You just got to believe in yourself. So again, man, I thank you for having me on this panel.
Definitely. And I'm going to tell you right now, brother, what we're going to do. We're going to buy a few of those books and we're going to give them out to the folks in the community. But I want you to come back. I want you to connect with our production team and come on one of our Hidden Gem shows, okay? Because that's what we do, right? Any person that comes on our Hidden Gem show, we support them in any kind of way. But I'm going to tell you now, we're going to buy something. But go and sign up on the website. The first Tuesday that you're available, it's at 7 o'clock or 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. But please, when you get a chance, each one of you, I want to nominate y'all and highlight y'all as hidden gems because maybe some people might miss this show. But our hidden gem show, we got different folks that watch different programs for different reasons. But we want to make sure we highlight you. And I want you to understand that I am a black man that support other black men. Okay. I've had a number of black men come on here. I bought books. I've went to shows. I've done all of it. I don't just talk it. You can ask everybody on this team. Both sides of the conversation is about empowering our community economically. We will spend our dollars with our people. So I'm going to tell you now, we're going to grab some copies and we'll give them to some of the young folks. I do mentorship inside the juvenile hall. I want to take your book and give it to those young brothers to read. You know, so we're going to buy a few of them. So when you get a chance, reach out to our production team or go to our website, sign up for our Hidden Gem show. I want to get you back. I want to highlight you to some of our other community folks that got programming going on. We should be putting your book in our community. And this is real, and we'll do it. So I'm telling you now, whenever you're available, sign up for our Hidden Gem show, and I'll make sure we purchase enough books to give to our young folks up there, and I'll have my team make sure they reach out to you as well. So we'll do that. Brother Frank.
All right.
Go and speak to people.
Right. Yeah, I want to thank you guys for having me on first. You know, this has been a really interesting discussion. You know, we identified a lot of issues surrounding the pandemic or the epidemic of suicide in our communities, and I hope that the listeners or the people that are watching this today take a call to action. Hopefully the information that was presented today inspires you to, reach out to our youth, to take better care of each other, to pay attention to the signs that could, save lives. Because ultimately, we're all we have, So once again, thanks for having me on.
Man, thank you again. I always say it, we all we got. But thank you for your service, brother. And I appreciate you being here in space with us today. This has been powerful. So with that being said, before I give my final words, because my team, every week, every show now, they calling me the bishop. So I'm going to step in the pool pit and get my benediction today, okay? I'm going to do my benediction today. But I want to close out with this to the community. We have to do our part. There is a tremendous call to action right now for our community to wake up. This was the start of that alarm that is ringing loud in our community. The number of suicide, the number of mental health issues in our community are increasing. As times change, money gets tighter, the discretion funds go away, the interest rates climb, the access to making a dollar is getting tighter. We are going to have to do our part. There's a call for action. Everybody in this community is going to have to do their part to uplift the people. If that is you and you think, how do I need to do my part? Get involved. Make a phone call. Reach out to somebody. We have to support each other to get to this victory that we're talking about, the finish line. We don't know what that line looks like, but we have to cross it. The torch must be passed. We heard today a loud call to the elders of the community. Pass the torch. There's young people waiting that's willing to lead, that's willing to step up. Find those young folks and pass the torch. You've heard her many times today speak about the young folks. They want to be heard. Adults in the community, we must open up our ears and listen to the young folks. Not opening up our ears to hear, but to understand. There is a generation difference. And there's things that we're going to have to do that we might not look or like in our community when it comes to our young people. But if you want to make that change, you're going to have to connect with them. You might have to listen to a little bit of ranchy music. You might have to watch them play a few video games. But at the end of the day, the conversation needs to be had. Take that second to connect with them before you correct them. Pay attention when you coming home. Even when it's late, look in your kid's room. Check and make sure that they're not hiding a gun in the room. Make sure they don't have pills that's unprescribed in their name on their dresser. Go through their stuff. Still be a parent. Don't be too friendly that you forget to do the things that you need to do as a parent to protect the kids that you say you love. It's our community job to pay attention. When you're on the public transit, when you're cruising through the community, and you see young folks doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, do your part to speak up. Don't just ride by in silence and say they'll get theirs or the police will deal with it. You do your part. Open up your mouth and tell the young folks, don't do that. Go out there and reach them. Every time I'm on the bus or I'm somewhere, I tell them, how you doing, young man? What you up to? Don't be afraid of the youth. The only way we're going to succeed is we can't be afraid of each other. Black folks, we're going to have to trust each other at some point if we really want to ascend. If we really want to grow, we're going to have to trust each other. We're going to have to work with each other. We are going to have to resolve the harm that has been caused in our community. We're going to have to apologize. We are going to have to forgive if we really want to make change in our community. There's a lot of things that we can attack, but the first thing we need to attack is the mentality and the mindset in our community. Subconsciously, our young folks are receiving thousands of messages a day, and all of them are pertaining to the greatness and the work that is going on. Majority of it is the devil, the negative energy that is telling them to kill, telling them to do things that they shouldn't do. How do we as community plant that positive seed in their subconscious? It starts with you. A word of grace, a word of gratitude, a word of hope, a word of perseverance might be what it takes to change that young person's mind. We got a lot of work to do. This mental health is real. This suicide rate in our community is real. To the young folks that are being bullied, reach out to somebody. If you're being bullied on social media, reach out to somebody. Do not let the situation end your life by not being able to reach out. Community, continue to be vulnerable. Be open. Elders, tell your story. Tell the truth. Because a lot of our young folks say, my parents act like they never did no wrong. Be honest. Be open. Tell your kids the depression, the anxiety, the PTSD that you've dealt with so that they don't have to go to it. Tell them your pain, as the brother said, so you don't have to create a new pathway. Do your part. The path has already been created. The research has already been done. Folks have already took that path. Elders, open up the door to the trail so that our next generation of folks can walk through with all the hassle. That's what we must do. Let's lead in love, community. Let's continue to uplift each other. Let's continue to support each other. Even when times get hard, let's stick together. Be that voice. Be that person. Pick up that phone. Call your loved one. Check in. And like they said, don't let them tell you everything is all right. If everything is all right, then tell me what's all right. The brother gave you a response for that answer. Somebody's dealing with something. I hope tonight somebody's going to be touched. I hope tonight somebody is going to have a different thought process. You heard from some powerful folk today. Be vulnerable. Tell you their truth. If they was open, you could be open. It starts one day at a time, one step at a time. With that being said, thank you all for tuning in today. This has been a great, powerful conversation. As you all know, we are continuing to change the narrative. It starts with these conversations. It starts with these awakenings that take place in these conversations. The alarm is ringing, community. That's the call to action. Don't hit the snooze button. Wake up. With that being said, our next live show is this Tuesday, as we will continue to highlight our Black and brown businesses on our Hidden Gem segment. If that is you out there, if you know a Black business, tell them to come on. Reach out. We'll uplift them. We'll make sure people know who they are and where they at. If that is you and you know somebody that is doing something positive in the community, tell them to come on so we can holler them. Let's start giving each other our roses now while we live it. I'm tired of going to funerals, finding out how great people are. Let's love on them and let's highlight them now. Our Educational Thursday or Happiness Thursday, we'll be talking about more financial stuff as we're going to continue to do our part here at both sides of the conversation to intentionally make sure that information and education about financial literacy gets to our community. We're going to keep doing that. And to all the amazing folks out there that continue to support us, continue to do your part. We are here. Reach out. We definitely always willing to work and partner with all of our folks in the community, and we want to make a change. If that is you, you a change maker, you want to be a narrative change maker, come on. Let's change the narrative together. Let's walk side by side and make great impact in our community. But with that being said, Niner fans, I know it's tough. It's all right. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. We're just going to keep pushing. Thank you all for tuning in. Be safe out there. I know Halloween is coming up, okay? People are riding around with masks. Don't be foolish out there, community. Pay attention. Be safe. And for folks going to folks' house, please check your kids' candy because we don't want anyone getting poisoned or anything traumatic happening in our community. But again, be safe out there. Enjoy the holiday and be careful. And we'll see you all on Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a powerful conversation. Thank all of you on the panel for being here. This was great. Looking forward to having you all again. Have a blessed evening, community.